We return once again to Josef K. Šlejhar, the Czech writer to whom life is far more scarier, harrowing and malicious than any fanciful, fantastic tale of vengeful revenants and revenge from beyond the grave. We have covered his life in episode 183, and have covered his other works in episodes 213, 232 and 238. In 1909 he published Forebodings. The title story concerns a woman operating a farm and driving to market with her seeds. The night before she goes there is a mysterious ring at the door, but when she goes to answer there's nobody there. The following day, her daughter complains of pain and asks her not to go, but she goes anyway. However, after refusing to sell at the low prices the agents of the big farmers want to make her pay, she goes home to find her daughter dead. This situation repeats a few times, with a mysterious ringing at her door the night before she goes to market, always returning to find one of her children dead, one drowning, and the other is killed when the entire village is destroyed utterly in a massive hurricane. His name day is the rare case of optimism and sympathy in Šlejhar's writing, where the narrator actually goes out of his way to improve the life of a poor child he sees in the street. Whereas the light returns to Šlejhar's usual form, with the farmer being blinded in both eyes, being seen as useless by his family, and mourning over never being able to see any of his beloved farm ever again, before being driven off into his fields, ascending his favourite hill, and killing himself, followed into death by his faithful dog. In 1910, he published Murdering, a novel which earned him the iron hatred of the people of his ancestral village, since the whole novel is based around accusing them of hypocrisy, backstabbing, theft, lying, manipulation, conspiracy, abuse of parents and children, etc., etc., etc. Šlejhar says there isn't any murder physically taking place, but a murder of the soul going on all the time, which is much more sinister than any actual assault. Some examples include a 90-year-old man having to uproot ancient gnarled tree stumps with only an old axe and rake to make a living, and then when not being able to anymore, dying of cold and starvation. A weaver woman spending all her money to allow her lover to become a teacher before he abandons her and lets her die of consumption. A group of men conspiring with a local moneylender to cheat a man out of his entire property, leading to him being sent to prison for 5 years for trying to murder the moneylender, but only stabbing a ham. His wife dying, leaving their 5 children homeless and destitute. The local innkeeper beating his own aged mother, having her sleep on the floor, making her haul huge loads alone, barely clothed in the snow, without raising a finger to help her but threatening her the entire time, until she dies following another beating. A bed-bound old woman, dying in horrible pain, which she has suffered through for decades, after being forcefully moved into a humid butcher's shed, just so the local doctor can have 10 rooms for himself. A woman who gets money by organizing fundraisers for various national causes, and then embezzles all of it, whose torture and abuse has deformed her one surviving son, whom she beats in revenge for her first son dying of an illness, then killing her child because it dared disturb her during a masked ball. A man having to become a factory slave at a weave mill because his father refused to lend him a small sum of money to save his farm, even though it would render his own grandchildren homeless, but having one absorbing fear, that of not getting back his own money from his son's farm when it goes up for auction, and many other small and large instances of abuse, hatred, lies, pretense, and inhumanity abound, affirming Šlejhar's position that all life is suffering, whether one causes it or is the recipient of it, and that there is no mercy except maybe in death.